everybody, I am Alba, the legal assistant of the Cooperativa Alcenero. Welcome to the first video about the legal information that you can have in Italy. The subject today is going to be the regularization of immigrants, which means giving documents to the people who didn't have documents. In Italian, remember the word is sanatoria. So today I know a lot of people have called me asking me for information about it. And as you know, we consider that information is power. Today I'm not going to speak about all the specific cases in sanatoria. This is a huge argument, very difficult to understand. But I'm going to give you the tools so you can have a main idea about what sanatoria it is going to be. I absolutely and sincerely advise you to try to go to a legal consulate that can help you to have more information in your city. Remember, unfortunately, prefettura and questura works very differently according to the city. And you also know that usually there is a huge gap between theory and practice, between law and what really then is applied. Okay? So, please, today I'm going to give you a first idea. Later, in the following weeks, I will update more specific information. Also, if you leave questions under the webpage, I will read it and I will create new contents. But remember, I cannot answer directly to all of you guys. But also in the next future videos, we will update like papers where you can actually go to trustful people to ask for legal information, okay? In your city, wherever you are. This is very important. Okay, so now let's start with sanatoria. Of course, most of you have heard a lot of information about it. Today, I'm just going to speak about the specific cases. Okay, be very attentive. The first part, let's start. Where can I work in sanatoria? There are three main works that you can do to ask for documents. The first is agriculture, or any work concerning agriculture. It's not only going in the fields in Campania and working, no. It can also the distribution of food. It can also take the food some place or another. Any work related with agriculture. The second work is working in farm with animals, okay? Or any work related with farm with animals. Also fishing, breeder, aquaculture, okay? This is the first kind of work that you can, if you're working to, you can ask for sanatoria. The second work is domestic work, which means working as a babysitter or working as a cleaner in the houses. The third work is taking care of old people or people who have disabilities or people who have handicaps. This is, for example, the work that in Italian is called badante. So remember, the first thing that I must think is, can I work in these three fields? Farming or agriculture, badante, or golf or babysitter? This is the first criteria. As I'm telling you, this is a sanatoria that has a very wide range. Not everybody who has no documents can apply. Only the people who can work in these three specific sectors, okay? Now, this is the first part. The second part is, okay Alba, but how can I get these documents? Listen to me very carefully. There are two possibilities, two ways. I'm going to explain first the first way, okay? The first way is the way of the employer, of the capo, of the boss. The second way is you as an immigrant who goes to Questura by his own. Let me explain. The first way, imagine that I am a boss, a capo, okay? And there are two ways. Yes, I don't know, I'm working in a house with a person and I need documents, okay? But I cannot have documents because I have no documents at all. And I'm helping this person to take care of her mother, which is very old or something like that. So there's already a relationship, a work relationship, but as I don't have documents, my boss cannot give me contract, okay? So it's already exists a relationship of work, but it's not declared because I have no documents. Or second thing, for example, is I know somebody who can give me documents, okay, but as I have no documents, he's not doing any contract. So what can the employer do? The employer can go to, if he's Italian, he will go to INPS. If he is not Italian, he will go to Sportello Immigrazione in prefettura. Usually Sportello Immigrazione is in prefettura, and he's going to go there and I say, hey, I want to give work to this person. Of course, you're asking me, any work? No, only the 3 works that I have named before. Yes, this is not a sanatoria for everybody. This is only a sanatoria for these 3 fields. So, the person, the worker, it is going to go to prefectura. He says, I have this contract with this person. It can be 1-month contract, it can be 6-month contract, it can be 1-year contract, a long-term contract. It can be any kind of contract, and he's going to say, I want to give him work. Okay, so that person, when he's going there, the person, the immigrant, is going to have a permesso di soggiorno, a resident permit as work permesso di soggiorno. Usually for this practice, you might have asked the passport to show your passport. Okay, then about that we will see after the 29 May more specific details about which exactly documentation you need. We will do a video to update you, okay? So this is the main idea, when the employer is the one who's giving work to another person and is going to Sportello Immigrazione. But wait, there are certain requirements. First of all, the employer, he cannot have a criminal record. If this is the case of your employer, I would advise to your employer to go to a lawyer to have specific counseling, okay? Of course, the employer must have a long-term permesso di soggiorno. He can be Italian, or from a US country. He must show that he can pay you, okay? He can pay you, he has enough money to pay you and to do a contract for you, and he must pay 400 euros to activate the whole practice, to activate the whole procedure. Be absolutely careful with this. The employer must not ask you for any reason any money. It's the employer who's going to pay the taxes to the Italian government, not the employee. Be very careful because unfortunately there is a lot of traps. There are a lot of traps with this. Know your rights. This is the most important thing. If somebody is enslaving you or forcing you to do a work or is asking you any money, you can denounce this person. Italian government is fighting against black work. Of course, be very careful. What are the criteria that the employee, that the immigrant must show? First of all, you need to show that you have been in Italy before the 8th March, before the coronavirus pandemic, okay? Why this criteria is this? There will be people who will ask me, wait, I'm not in Italy right now. This criteria has created to avoid other people from other countries come to Italy just because of documents. You need to show that you have been in Italy. How? Most of the people have already given their fingerprints in Questura before. Maybe 2 years ago or maybe 10 years ago. Who cares? They are not telling you from where. But you need to show in a certain way, you need to prove that you have been in Italy. Also, there is a declaration of state that usually people sign as soon as they come to Italy. Okay, after 8 days, if you have this declaration, you can also show. Relax. After the 29th May, we will have more information about it, about the specific requirements to prove that you have been in Italy before the 8th March. Okay? We will know. Until now, we don't have the whole information, but for now, this is the information we have. Second of all, you need to show that you have been before the 8th March. It can also, maybe you arrived in Italy with a passport as a tourist, for example, and in your passport there was a stamp, okay? So you can use this as proof that you have been in Italy. Or for example, before you had another permesso di soggiorno, student permesso di soggiorno, asylum seeker permesso di soggiorno, and now you don't have any permesso di soggiorno. You can show this. There's any evidence that you have been in Italy before the 8th March and that you haven't left the country. Okay, if there's any proof that you have left the country, unfortunately you cannot do this procedure. Okay, from when you can ask for this application? It is going to be from the 1st June until the 15th July. These are the dates. So remember, from the 1st June until the 15th July, these are the precise time you have with your employer to go to prefectura. Okay? Is this clear? If you have any question, just put it down. Also, the employer might not have any criminal record. Okay, for criminal record, they consider like you are not a problem for the security of the Italian state. This is very important. Or it's not, for example, if you didn't have any documents at all and this is like your only crime, this is not going to be a problem. Relax. Okay, but even if you had a paper that were saying that you needed to leave the country, it's not a problem. It's only a problem if you had problems penalty problems with the security of the government. But if this is your case, I absolutely advise you to go to find a lawyer or a person, a legal expert consultant that is going to check your case precisely, okay? Because this is a very complicated matter, okay? So this is the first way to get documents. Remember, I need to think, is it a work in these three sectors that I said before, agriculture, badante or coal? Can I show that I have been in Italy before the 8th March? Okay. My employer can have all these requirements? If yes, this is your way. Okay. But there's also a second way. This way it's a little bit more difficult and it needs more requirements, okay? More specific requirements, and most of the people may not have the possibility to enter in this way. The second way is, I am an immigrant, okay, I have no documents, and I don't have until now any work proposition, okay, but I would like to work. So I go by my own in the same days, the 1st June until the 15th July, I decide to go to Questura and I ask for a 6-month permesso di soggiorno. This is not going to be a 6-month permesso di soggiorno, and please do not confuse it with the 6-month permesso di soggiorno for asylum seekers. It's not that. This 6-month permesso di soggiorno is like a bypass. It's a paper that Questura is giving to you in order you can work for 6 months, and the Italian government is not going to put you out of Italy if police finds you. How do I take these documents? There are very precise criteria. Okay? First of all, again, you need to prove that you have been in Italy before the 8th March. First criteria. Second criteria, and this is a difficult one. Your permesso di soggiorno, so it means that you had already had a permesso di soggiorno, should be expired after the 31 October 2019. I repeat, after the 31 October 2019. I know it's a very difficult criteria. You will ask me, but Alba, my permesso di soggiorno expired on September 2019, or my permesso di soggiorno expired on, I don't know, 2016 or 2011 or any year before the 31 October 2019. I will tell you, unfortunately, according to these criteria, you cannot apply for channel 2, for the way 2. Maybe you can still apply for the 1, okay? But not for 2. So this is a criteria that we will see if it's going to be more flexible or not in the future. Maybe in the 29 there is going to be this new, not this new law, but they are going to speak, they're going to give us specific rules about how to do sanatoria, okay? But this criteria until now is like this, okay? So I'm sorry, I know this is very frustrating, okay? The third criteria, to go to Questura by your own, you need to also prove that you had worked in these 3 sectors before, which means, I don't know, in 2011 or in 2000 or last year, it doesn't matter the date. I have worked in agriculture. I worked and I have one busta paga, one contract. I have already worked, I already had experience in agriculture, or I have already had experience in domestic work or as babysitter, and I can prove it. For example, I can prove it with a contract, or the person who I was working to can declare it. It's very specific, also very tricky, this part, okay? So let's just try to have general information. Can I prove in a certain way that I have worked in these 3 sectors of work that I named before? If yes, I can do this, I can apply. So remember, channel 2 is more difficult, the way 2 is more difficult, and you need to prove that you have been in Italy before the 8th March, that your permesso di soggiorno has been expired after the 31 October 2019, and it hasn't been renewed or converted in another permesso di soggiorno. Very, very difficult to enter there. And third of all, the third criteria is, did I have before experience in this work? And I can prove it. If you do, if you manage to enter in this 3, you can go to Questura and ask for this. They are going to ask you 160 euros to start the procedure, and then 30 euros. No, I think it's, yeah. They are going to ask you money, okay? But you can go by your own. You don't need to wait the person. One big question, okay Alba, I do have this criteria. What is going to happen next if my soggiorno will expire? For example, this 6 months bypass will expire. Listen to me. There are going to be 2 possibilities. Remember, I managed to enter in this channel that is very difficult. Maybe I found a contract of 3 months in agriculture. Great. After you have finished these 3 months in agriculture, you can go to IMSS and declare that you are not longer working and you are waiting for another work. So when this permesso di soggiorno is about to expire, you can always go to Questura and ask for a permesso di soggiorno that is called waiting for a work. Do you understand? So if you have worked, if you have any experience of these 3 sectors, you can still go later and ask, please, I want my permesso di soggiorno to be renewed. And then if you find another contract, it must not necessarily be in these 3 sectors, in agriculture, golf, or domestic work. No, it can be in other things. So this is a good way, just not only to work in agriculture, but if you find a work in any other sector. Okay, but this is one way. Second way, imagine I have worked I managed to get this 6-month bypass, but I didn't find any work in agriculture or as a golf. I didn't manage to do it. But oh, you're very lucky. In the 6th month, you managed to have a permesso a contract. I don't know, a friend of yours is telling you, hey, you can work in my fabrica, you can work in another sectors. You can go still to Questura and say, hey, I found another work after these 6 months. Not in the 3 fields you named before, but yes, in this kind of, I don't know, for example, in fabrica or as an architecture or no matter which other work. This is also another possibility, okay? I know, it's tricky. Remember, channel 2. Do I have these 3 criteria? Permesso di soggiorno expire after the 31? Do I have I been in Italy after the 8th March? Do I have experience in these 3 sectors before? Yes, I enter. Once I am inside, I have 2 different possibilities. I have already worked and I lost the work. If you lost it, of course, if they did a contract for you of 10 months, it will not be a problem. You will renew it. Perfect. Or I just have a short-term contract of 3 months. I can still go to attesa occupazione. Okay. Or before the 6-month permesso di soggiorno expired, I managed to find a work in another field, in another work, not only in agriculture code. These are the possibilities. So remember, you have these 2 possibilities. The first one, the employer who's going to go to sportello, or the immigrant by his own who can go to Questura, and if he has these 3 requirements, he can ask for this permesso di soggiorno of 6 months. Okay? I know there might be a lot of questions you are going to ask me. For example, I am an asylum seeker, or I am a student, I have a permesso di soggiorno as a student, or I was a tourist. Can I really apply for this? Yes. But first, remember, you need to enter in these criteria. For the second channel, for the second way, it will be more difficult, okay? Because it generally is more difficult to enter there. But as an asylum seeker, the law hasn't written anything against the fact that asylum seekers cannot apply. Remember, asylum seekers are the person who have this yellow 6-month permesso di soggiorno. Okay? So you need to have the 3 criteria that I have already told you, and having no criminal record, and also probably they might ask you the passport. Okay, I know, I'm not sure about it, but usually when you ask a permesso di soggiorno for work reasons, you need the passport or any identification document that you had already had. So it can be quite complicated for an asylum seeker, but it is not forbidden. Okay, this is a very important thing that you need to know. For example, can you do if you, for example, have a stash or a tirocinio? It means not a formal work. I'm not sure about it. Until now, most of the lawyers' interpretation, they don't know. We will need more specific information after the 29th May 2020, where the government is going to give more specific criteria. Okay? This is the last update. I will say that this is the general information I'm giving you. Of course, I know a lot of people will have a lot of questions, okay? Just write it down in the comments. But please believe me, the most important thing is that you try to go to a legal counselor that is going to guide you in your specific way, because each one of us has a specific case, okay? This is very important, and this is also one of the future things that I would like to do, is trying to put you in contact with the association that defend immigrants' rights, or for example some lawyers that can actually help you and support you in order to avoid what is usually happening during this kind of regularization of immigrants, are traps, are people who want to take advantage of you and take your money. Okay, this is the final information I have. I hope you're all fine. I hope God bless you. And remember to subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, just put yes. And I hope that we will meet soon. Bye bye.